what I'm getting ready to share with you is not that important. This is more so for fun and games. This is more of an entertainment piece than it is anything that's serious or productive. But I just want to talk about it just because. Just because. So, most of you already know who Ann Coulter is. Now, to those of you who don't, she's a very well-known conservative Republican author and commentator, pundit. She's basically similar to the likes of, your Rush Limbaugh, Alex Jones, Tommy Lahren type people. She fits right in with people on Fox News, Newsmax, Breitbart, that whole group. Keep in mind, she was one of Trump's biggest supporters. One of his biggest supporters. I don't think she is quite at this point. I think she kind of still likes and supports him a little bit, but not like she did when he first came out. Now, I'll tell you this. On June 19th of 2015, this was on Bill Maher's show. And I promise you, I'm so glad that I was able to pull up this clip now because I've never forgotten about it. And I probably will never forget this because this is, in a sense, a laughable clip. But at the same time, it's kind of sad because it turns out that, as much as it pains me to say it, what she said at the time eventually turned out to be correct in her prediction. Now, a lot of you might remember she was on Bill Maher's show, and right after Trump declared his presidency for 2016, and he was the last Republican to jump in the race, and 3 days later, Bill Maher asked her, who does she think has the highest chance to win the election? And of course, she said Trump with no hesitation. They all laughed at her. I just want to play the first 60 seconds of this.
Okay, here we are. And which Republican candidate has the best chance of winning the general election?
Of the declared ones, right now, Donald Trump. I especially like.
What about of all of them? I mean, Scott
fake
Walker.
laughter from the audience.
Okay, we'll just
Scott Walker would just.
Yeah, we'll just cut it right there for now. So, again, you get it. So, her response was met with laughter, and a lot of us laughed at that. Turns out she was right, and that's very sad, and it's very depressing that not only he became president, but also she was right about that. I mean, that's just sad. That hurts. So, she was also met with a number of controversies throughout the course of her career. One of them right here says she was accused of anti-Semitism in October of 2007 in an interview with Donnie Deutsch on The Big Idea. During the interview, she stated that the United States is a Christian nation and that she wants Jews to be perfect, as they say, referring to them being converted to Christianity. Deutsch, a practicing Jew, implied that this was an anti-Semitic remark, but Coulter said she did not consider it to be a hateful comment. Her comments on the show were condemned by the Anti-Defamation League, American Jewish Committee, and Bradley Burston, and the National Jewish Democratic Council asked media outlets to cease inviting Coulter on as a guest commentator. Conservative talk show host Dennis Prager, while disagreeing with her comments, said that they were not anti-Semitic, noting there's nothing in what she said to a Jewish interviewer on CNBC that indicates she hates Jews or wishes them ill or does damage to the Jewish people or the Jewish state. Blah, blah, blah. Fast forward. In September of 2015, she tweeted in response to multiple candidates' references to Israel during a Republican presidential primary debate. She was quoted as saying, "How many effing Jews do these people think there are in the United States?" The Anti-Defamation League referred to the tweets as ugly, spiteful, and anti-Semitic. In response to accusations of anti-Semitism, she tweeted, "I like the Jews, I like fetuses, and I like Ronald Reagan. Don't need to hear applause lines about them all night." Okay, I don't know how fetuses was brought into that equation. I don't really know how Ronald Reagan's name was brought into that, but I mean, the only way I can kind of somewhat maybe understand it is maybe some of the Republicans had referenced Ronald Reagan, and of course a lot of them will say that he was one of their greatest presidents of all time. So maybe there was something in there that they didn't quite, I don't know. The statement just sounds weird, It was about anti-Semitism. I like Jews. I like fetuses. I like Reagan. Okay, whatever. Hey, go ahead. You can have it. This one I can't pull up in particular, but this is something I vaguely remember, and I kind of don't want to pull it up now because I don't want to hear it again, and I'm trying not to get too upset about it. I vaguely remember her saying somewhere along the lines of Obama gets away with stuff, or he got away with stuff because he was black, or something like that. This had to have been in his second term. I think this had to have been like 2015 or 16. I don't think I saw it until like 2017, maybe even closer to 18. And keep in mind, for as much as I can't stand her and for as ignorant as I think she is, there was one instance where I attempted to actually team up with her for a particular project in 2020. I know a lot of you were shocked to hear that. Maybe some of you even just spit out your food or drinks just because I said that. But I'll explain that in a different video, if you want me to. Anybody who's curious to hear it, then just let me know in the comment section or text or call me, whatever. I'll talk about it if you really want me to. So, without further ado, I am here to tell you that she, of all people, slammed Lauren Boebert. The reason why I kind of like this is because, not because of the insulting factor, but this just tells you right here how broken and fractured and just so unorganized and just all over the place the Republican Party is right now, which, by the way, is what a lot of Republicans in 2016 predicted would happen if Trump became president, which is exactly what happened, even though 80% of them are still supporting him, even after 3 or 4 indictments and over 80, 85, 90 criminal charges. Different story, different day. So, according to Newsweek, Ann Coulter slams Lauren Boebert for a theater incident, calls her embarrassing bimbo. Conservative commentator Ann Coulter on Saturday ridiculed Representative Lauren Boebert, a Colorado Republican, for recently being ejected from a theater performance. She said, "Can't Colorado find some Republican not trashy and stupid to represent them in the 3rd Congressional District?" She put on Twitter. Well, here's my response to that. First of all, as a Democrat, I don't want any Republican in that district. That's why I'm supporting Adam Frisch, who is a centrist to somewhat slightly center-left Democrat. He's not quite where I want him to be, but still 10 times better than who's there now. So technically, I don't want any Republican there, but if you just have to have one, at least have one who has the mindset and behavioral structure of somebody like, a Mitt Romney type person, even though I don't really care for him either. But Boebert and a male companion were escorted out of a performance of the Beetlejuice musical at the Buell, is it Buell or Bell Theater? We'll just go with Buell for now. Buell Theater in Denver, Colorado, on Sunday after other attendees complained about her disruptive behavior that involved singing and alleged vaping during the show. Actually, it's not alleged. We can actually see footage of her. We can see her holding something and smoke coming out of her mouth. That's not alleged. That is what it is. But okay. All right. It's actual smoke. I know. So her campaign confirmed the incident to Newsweek, saying that Boebert did, to the dismay of a select few, enthusiastically enjoyed a weekend performance of Beetlejuice. Ann Coulter's message included a link to the news article about how CCTV footage from the incident shows Boebert vaping inside the theater. The Congresswoman's office initially denied claims about vaping indoors, but Boebert later apologized after the video emerged and said the past few days have been difficult and humbling. All right, so let me just say this. She denied it. So they denied that it happened, and then video comes out, oh, it happened. And hey, listen, I apologize for... I don't think that really means she apologizes for doing it. I think she's just sorry about the fact that the video came out and that people saw it. Hey, I wasn't vaping in the movie theater. I wasn't doing that. Oh, there's a video? Oh, okay. Hey, listen, I'm sorry you had to see that. But hey, I did it even though I'm denying it, but there's a video. I'm sorry. Classic. Pure classic. Coulter wrote multiple messages on Saturday about Boebert. In another Twitter post, she called the lawmaker a totally embarrassing bimbo. Newsweek reached out to Boebert via email for comment. That message included a link to an article about, okay, that's just repeating the same thing right there. Another message from the political pundit mentioned how Boebert had recently become a grandmother at age 36. The post also contained an article that alleged Boebert's campaign at the show was revealed to be a Democrat. Boebert has not commented on the man's identity or any alleged relationship. She also wrote, "It just gets better and better." Lauren has been widely criticized for the theater incident, including by prominent conservatives like Meghan McCain, John McCain's daughter, and co-host of The View, a GOP political commentator and daughter of the former Senator John McCain. I didn't even know those guys. And Jenna Ellis, an ex-attorney for former President Donald Trump. Democrats have also seized on the moment to attack the outspoken Congresswoman. Among those is Adam Frisch, who nearly unseated her in the 3rd Congressional District race in the 2022 midterms. He's running against her again in 2024. Now, yeah, that's true. He literally came this close to unseating her in 2022. She won by less than 600 votes. I think the last recorded number was like somewhere between 540 and around 560. So almost 600. So we just needed an extra 600 people to get involved in that race and to vote for Adam Frisch, and she would be out. Unless, she would just do what Trump did and she would just attempt to storm a building and go through 1,000 different courts trying to fight it, even though everybody's saying, hey, you lost, so just shut up and sit down and just go home. For her part, Coulter has made headlines in recent weeks for criticizing Trump while stating why she doesn't feel the former president should be the GOP presidential nominee for 2024. She last month called Trump a gigantic baby who can barely speak English. Okay, and you didn't see that in 2016? It took you an entire presidency and then now another presidential campaign for you to see that he's a gigantic baby? For somebody who spearheaded the storming of a Capitol and going through a bunch of courts and fighting with all these judges, who, by the way, are his judges that he appointed, that are telling him, hey, listen, we like you, but there's no evidence here to support your claims. Okay, we don't like Biden, but he won. That's just what it shows us. They did a recount. They did an audit in Arizona, and they did a recount down there where the Republicans were the ones who ran it. And Biden came out to win in bigger numbers than even what was initially shown. They also did a recount in Georgia. Biden also won that. A recount in Nevada. Biden won that. Now, they did a recount in North Carolina. Now, Trump ended up winning that, which didn't surprise me because the Republican senator out there, Tom Tillis, who was endorsed by Trump, and he endorsed Trump too, he won that. He won the re-election for that spot. And, of course, Trump won the state. It leans more Republican anyway, so, I mean, that's not a shock. So, okay, so fine. He won North Carolina fair and square. But, so Trump is the type of guy that, as we all know, if he doesn't get what he wants, and, of course, he just throws a tantrum, and anybody who is on his side, that the only way you can maintain staying on his good side and keeping in his good graces if you have to say all good things about him all the time. And the minute you say something slightly critical, he demonizes you and calls you you're a traitor, you're a communist, you're siding with Pelosi, you're siding with Clinton, you're siding with Obama, whatever. Just whatever, some stupid garbage that he'll come up with. And Ann Coulter, for some reason, could not see that a few years ago. Now he's a gigantic baby. Well, thank you, Ann, for realizing something that everybody in the country realized for the last I don't know how many years. Lauren Boebert is being slammed by that person. That's the point I'm getting to. Sorry, I digress a little bit, but again, this is just kind of fun for me. I don't understand what the Republican... I don't know what they think they're going to do at this point. I don't know. The guy that they're propping up as their presumptive nominee is a guy who is possibly on his way to prison. And even if he doesn't go to prison, it still just doesn't look good to have 90 criminal charges against you and you've been indicted 3 or 4 times. And what else can you really say about this? The Republican Party is doomed. And the only thing, and the reason I state all this stuff right here, I know it sounds irrelevant, but the reason I bring all that up is I am so frustrated that the Democrats are struggling against these people. Everybody is, listen, we have serious issues going on in the world. We got a better health care, we better education, higher wages. I would say preferably more stimulus checks, even though some Democrats would even disagree with me on that. But this is what the real people are trying to focus on. And everybody else is arguing about Pepe Le Pew and Black Mermaid and Barbie and fictional characters and all this other nonsense that people... What does any of that got to do with politics? So, I mean, I'm just... Wow. So all those things that I just gave you about Ann Coulter right there. And here she is, who a lot of people called her a dumb bimbo for years. Now here she is saying the same thing about Lauren Boebert. I'm telling you, the Republican Party is hilarious. I gotta say, that's probably the one good thing the Republican Party is good for is entertainment. I'll give them that. If I just had to credit them for anything, and it pains me to even say that, but I mean, hey, it's true. They're there for that. So that's that. Ann Coulter slams Lauren Boebert. One Trump supporter, or I guess former Trump supporter, is slamming another Trump supporter, but this one is still a hardcore Trump supporter, hardcore MAGA. So, other than that, I just wanted to get that out there. All right, folks, get back to doing what you're doing. My next few videos are going to be a little bit more serious now. The next ones are going to be about shows and movies as always, so I'll be back to that. So, there we go. The Republican Party is, they're in a world of hurt, and it's a mess.